I'm at the David Crut Projects in Rosebank, Johannesburg for an incredible exhibition from a talented artist. Her name is Natalie Paneng and she's got a new exhibition out called the Uncanny Valley. Picture perfect. Let's go check it out. Natalie Paneng, thank you so much for your invitation to your exhibition. It already looks wonderful and you haven't even started talking.
Thank you for having me and thank you for coming to the Uncanny Valley.
It's just a pleasure. Before we talk about your art, where did the love for art start? What did you study to be able to get to this point?
So I studied theatre, and I think the beginning of all of it was just like my love for play. And through theatre, I was like understanding and bringing that to life, but also just had like a side quest where I just started making work and I started performing in front of the camera for myself, and I just kind of developed like my own aesthetic qualities while also thinking about like how to physicalize play and those aesthetics.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned theatre, I think that theatre makers and also theatre goers they've got a beautiful mind and to put life into art. How did theatre help you with making art in a different form?
Well, my work is very performative and it's also very world-based. So I majored within set and costume design, and so I was always thinking about like making worlds, like where is the happening? So like if there's a character, what is the character doing? How do they do? What are they trying to achieve? And then I've always thought about like where are they? So these things have really found themselves within my practice now. And I think, yeah, like theatre's really like framed the format of how my art presents itself in.
I also read that you have art and then you're incorporating the digital world, the digital art. How did you do that?
So I'm primarily a video and digital artist, and so this collaboration with David Crut has been really interesting because it's taken my digital practice into a more analog format, which is printmaking. And so a lot of the ways we thought through this work is how do I use the principles within the digital making in a more analog practice, which is printmaking. So I use a lot of assets. I tried to make a repetition of assets through the images and thought through how to translate, like how it would work on a computer into a more like analog hand making process. So a lot of those are like, it's like a back and forth between these two processes, but also trying to bring like tactile and like tangibility back into the work. So yeah, it was just like a whole experience of like finding, losing and grounding again.
And what I love also about artists and also especially comedians, there's a lot of collaboration that happens. It's not, oh, this is my work, I'm going to keep my work and I'm going to give all the credit to myself. You worked with another artist also on this project, and when I read his bio, he said he's worked with William Kentridge before and he's worked with you before, and like you were literally in that. How was it working with that person?
So Sibongiseni Kulu is a master printmaker. He is one of the printmakers at the David Crut's workshop, and it was really cool working with him. He's like super skilled. He like knows all the possibilities. So when I came, like these are my first ever prints, like working within prints. So I had like all these like, again, suspended ideas, magical ideas, and he had a very good way of like grounding them and like giving me a sense of like the tools we could use to execute that. He had an amazing way of like mixing the paints, because I had a very specific pink and green tone.
That's what I wanted
in
to
my
ask.
heart.
Did you get this at the paint shop, or did you mix the colors to be able to make the
It was
pink?
all mixed. So like these are like tones that were like hand mixed. There was like precision and time put into it. So yeah, like these were not just like bought in the store. It was like he actually like mixed it, and we'd like look at it and like kind of develop the color scheme physically, which is so different from the digital process, because really you just like kind of use an image, pick the color there and throw it in. But with this we had to actually like mix it until we got there. And yeah, I think his approach is like super meticulous, And it really inspired me and also like pushed me forward, because I had like these ideas in the sky and he was able to bring them closer and make them real and translate so well.
It's very true. Now, if somebody walks into these doors and walks straight to your exhibition, and some people might be from Houghton in Johannesburg, some people might be from Alex in Johannesburg. There's different people that's already art lovers, there's people that still need to learn how to love art. What would you tell them? How would you describe your exhibition, and how would you want somebody to feel when they walk in here?
Such a lovely question. I think the most important thing I try and make people feel is just like a sense. So that's like feeling, that's childlike wonder. Like I think if people leave here wanting to play, no matter if they're like 80, 60 or 15, then the work as art also has done its job.
Would you mind giving me a walkabout?
I would love to.
All right, let's do it. So Natalie, tell me about this art piece. I feel like exactly what you explained, it's the art and the digital coming together.
So Twirling in My Subconscious is a mixed media work, and like it's one of those that actually bring the digital into it. I feel like all of these have a different element of the digital not present, but here there's like a projection thrust upon like one of the prints that we made, and it's just bringing like the landscape that we made is empty, and finally like the character within all of the works is alive. And so like what the work can't do in a static way, this work finally allows for like movement and play, and also the tiny little Natalies who make like the meadow, which is also
it's a tiny little Natalies.
Yes, and like they disappear into being Natalies, but they just look like a meadow. So it's also like playing more with that, the duplication that can happen physically, but is usually quite easy digitally. So it's just like the way we played with, or the way I played with, you know, the multidisciplinary like approach.
Earlier you spoke about playfulness, and I feel like with this art piece, I feel it. It feels like I'm looking at cotton candy that's shaped beautifully.
Quite literally. So this art piece, like Till Kingdom Come, is made all with tissue paper. So all the detailing looks like it's painted on, but it's actually all completely paper. And the reason it's crazy.
Now I see it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think that's what makes sense with like cotton candy, that like softness and that whimsical like material. And the reason that I made this is because I wanted to bring the castles and the images to life. Like because paper is not my usual medium, I thought about how to make it 3D again. So how can we make paper three-dimensional? So all of these castles are basically like manifestations of expanding paper from its initial shape and form into a kingdom and a place of magic.
Well, Natalie, thank you so much for inviting us to your kingdom.
I'm so glad you were able to come and experience it with me.
It's just a pleasure. And if you also want to make a turn at the David Crack Project, it is in Rosebank, Johannesburg, to see this beautiful exhibition of Natalie. You know where to find us.